Hey guys, Frost here. I just wanted to make a real quick note before today's video. As you go through it, you are going to notice there is quite a bit of editing in this video. Nothing relevant's cut out or anything, but just lots of little skips here and there while we were waiting for our opponents to decide what to do between matches, just kind of all that general stuff. Moving forward, I am going to leave a lot more of that in the video. I just want that natural authenticity, want things to flow a little bit better, and let you guys see it exactly as it's happening. So today's will kind of be an exception to that rule, but things will be back to normal moving forward. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy today's video, and I'll catch you later. How's it going, YouTube? It's Frost50, and we are back and ready for our first draft of the November 2021 ranked season. Technically speaking, we are playing and recording this on October 31st, so we're getting that nice early jump start on things. The ladder reset happened, roughly 8 hours ago. We're recording this in the later evening time, but I couldn't wait. I am excited to get in, get this going, and get those ranks up. With that being said, not a whole lot to talk about this episode before we jump in, so let's head right into it. Alright, so we are ready to go here. We're going to be jumping right into a premiere draft. Full disclosure, you guys can't see it on your screen just because the way the recording goes. I do have the Untapped Companion app downloaded onto my computer. I do have it set up to where we can see the limited resources rankings. I'm not using anything beyond just what they provide for free, though. I know they have that, it shows little fire symbols if it's good for your deck, and they have the deck editor. Not using any of that, just seeing the ratings. But we are going to go ahead and dive right in here. 1,500 gems in, and let's go. Alright, here we go. First pack of the first draft of the November season. And we do get a Jaren right off the top here. This isn't something I've actually had a chance to draft yet. I do really like the card, though. It's in black, which is obviously one of the strongest colors in this set. 3 mana, 2/3. When it enters the battlefield or another non-token human you control dies, lose a life, make a human. You can pay 2 mana, and target human gets lifelink until end of turn. At the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, you may pay 6 and transform it. Turns into that 6/6 Ormondal word soup for abilities. It's a solid card. And I think we go ahead and take it here. The 13 life thing can be a bit awkward. But in terms of other things I'm looking at this pack, I do admit soft spot for the blue-black zombies just because of how good it is. Argument could be made for the dragon and the Styrograph Horde, but ultimately I think it'd be silly to pass up the Mythic here. So we're going to go ahead and lock that in. Pack 2, just looking for things in our black color here. There is nothing. However, we do have the best common in an Organ Hoarder. Yeah, I think it's silly to pass on that. Pure power level, the Brigand, there is an argument there for, but I do think red is one of the weaker colors in the set. Like, in my opinion, it probably goes blue, black, white, red, and then green. So I think we just can't pass on the Organ Hoarder, especially if we can get some more blue-black payoffs. Alright, and we do get another black payoff in the Dreadhound. 6 mana, 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, we mill 3 cards, and whenever a creature dies or is put into a graveyard from a library, each opponent loses a life. That's just a solid, on rate, it's good. Its ability is even better. 6 mana, 6/6. That's how we're going to close out games. I am seeing a couple of other things I like here. We're not going to take them over that, but like the Drownyard Amalgam, the Secrets of the Key, when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's pretty meh. But the Dreadhound here is definitely a solid pickup for our deck already. Alright, so pack 4 here. Nothing immediately going on in terms of best cards in the pack for us. The Sunset Revelry is really not good in limited. The Dawnheart is pretty good, but not a color we're looking to go into just yet. We're probably going to take this Winter Thorn Blessing. Just because the blue, black, green, like if we end up having to splash the green, it's still a solid strategy. It's good. I have had success in the Sultai colors. There is another Drownyard Amalgam here, which I do like, but I think I like the Winter Thorn more. Pick 5. Got a lot going on here. As tempting as this take the land just to guarantee our mana, the bait hook angler is really good, and this format really is about being on board, being present, not taking turns off. And this early in the draft, I just want to make sure we have something we can play. Alright, so the vampire's neat, but I don't see us splashing red in this deck. The Geist Wave is probably just the best choice in our colors. There is an argument for the Behemoth to be made, but it's lower on the power scale in my opinion, and we can probably pick one up later as a later pick. Alright, so most powerful card in this pack is probably going to be the Heirloom Mirror. Heirloom Mirror. I'm not a big fan of it, but just on rate, I think it's the best card here. There is another Amalgam, and honestly, I would probably play the Amalgam over this. And there is the Devious Cover-Up too, but I'm not a fan of sitting on counterspells in this format. I think we're actually going to go ahead and lock in the Amalgam. Go ahead, pass that Heirloom. Okay, we'll take that Heirloom. Nothing else really going on in this pack. The Bat Whisperer is neat, but not fantastic. Alright, not a whole lot going in this pack for us. We do get the Unblinking Observer, which I think is better in the blue-white, like the Spirits, and if you're sitting back on counterspells. I think I like the Occultist more here. We're just going to get to some quick picks here. We're just going to take stuff on color for us. We are a little light in the 1-drop spot, so that is something to keep an eye on, just keep in the back of our mind. But we still have 2 packs to go, so we're probably fine. Some late green picks here, just in case we do make that splash. Of the ones available here, nothing great, but I think we're going to take the tap. Probably won't play it, but it's at least in a potential color. And we do get a Behemoth super late, so that's nice to pick up there. Alright, pack 2. We have the Sigarda's Splendor, which it's a neat card. It does some fun shenanigans. Not something we're going to be playing here. The Boneblade Scoundrel, though, on the other hand, this is something I can definitely see us playing, so we're going to go ahead and just lock that in. Other notable cards here, I don't hate Flip the Switch. I probably take the creature over it most times. The Larder Zombie is neat, but it'll probably come back around to us. Hobbling Zombie is real good, though. I think I like this more than the Hobbling Zombie, and there is a decent chance we get another. Same with the Vampire Interloper. There is actually some solid cards for us in this pack, but I think we're going to go ahead and take the Scoundrel. Alright, pack 2. If only we were in those colors. That is a bomb, but it is not what we are doing this draft. This thing's not terrible. It's a nice little card draw engine. And really, in this pack, we don't have a ton else going on. It's really between this and the Consider. And with as light as we are in the Consider, and the fact we're probably not going to be doing too many day-night shenanigans, I think we're going to go ahead and take the Consider here. Farmer is actually also a solid pickup if we go the green route. Is it worth for the splash? We do have the Witherhorn, so it's not like we have nothing. I think we're going to go ahead and lock in the Farmer here, actually. Alright, looking through this pack. Dissipate is pretty neat. It's a 3-mana counter, which I do like a lot more than the 4. Another white bomb, but I just don't think we can do it this late. If only we were in those colors to start. There is a lot of good white cards in this pack. The Shady Traveler is pretty neat, but not something that's really on path what we're doing here. And then there's the Outland Liberator, which is just a super solid 2-drop. I think we are going to go ahead and lock in this green splash with this pick. I'm a little torn on that one, I will be honest. Again, white-red is wide open. There's not a single blue-black card in this pack. We maybe should have pivoted. It's definitely not one of my stronger areas. We're going to go ahead and take the Hauler here. It's a big thing they have to deal with. Alright. Not a ton going on in this pack for us. We've got to Turn the Earth, which isn't really great. The Sentry's neat, but not something we're going for. I really like the lock in the cemetery for our deck. However, since we are pretty locked into splashing green here, I think we're going to take the Evolving Wilds just to give us another chance to get into that mana fixing. And yeah, again, just white is wide open here. Pretty much nothing going on in this pack. We're going to go ahead and take the Rejuvenator. If this was a pod draft, I'd probably hate draft some of these other things, but since it's league play, we're not guaranteed to be playing these guys. Doesn't really matter. Alright, Dawn Heart Mentor. ETB, make a 1/1. Coven, give everything +3/+3 trample. Not fantastic, but better than the other things we're seeing in this pack. Alright, so we do get the Larder Zombie coming back around, along with the Bat Whisperer, and a Path to the Festival, which it's not terrible just because of where our colors are. We could also pick up the second E-Wilds, and that pretty much means we're not going to have to worry about mana this draft. I think we're going to go ahead and lock that in. We're going to go ahead and take the Flip the Switch here. Not a whole lot going on in this pack. I think 3 Evolving Wilds is probably more than we want, but we've already got 2 Rotten Reunions. I don't see us playing a third, so I think we're going to go ahead and take it. Alright, so this pack's a little interesting. I think the best card is actually probably the Bounding Wolf because of the flash. I do like the Otherworldly Gauge just because of how many green things we're picking up, but sometimes it be like that. Only we'd been able to pivot. That's potential mistake. Let me know what you think about in the comments. If we should have pivoted in pack 2 there, or if we just stuck strong in our colors. Alright, so looking through this pack here, we do have a Dissipate. We do have the Archivist, which is really nice draw engine here. It doesn't really fit with the blue-black zombies theme so much, but just a solid draw engine. We do also have another with Winterhorn Blessing. Based on how those last few packs went, though, there is a chance that comes back around. I do really like the Gale Drifter as well. I'm just not sure if I like it as much as the Overwhelmed. And there's also a Revenge of the Drowned, which is also just a super solid card. I think we're going to take the Archivist, and something here should come back around to us. Alright, couple solid cards here. We do have the Morbid Opportunist, which is neat. We're just going to soft lock that, but we do have another Bait Hook Angler, we do have another Consider, and a Geist Wave. Lots of solid things going on in this pack. We do have a fair number of creatures to be on the board with. We do already have the one Geist Wave, though. I don't think we take the second Bait Hook Angler. But I am torn on this Geist Wave pick. There is also the Hobbling Zombie here, and I do really like that as well. I think we're actually going to take the Hobbling Zombie. Alright, looking through this, we're getting a late pick Organ Hoarder. A pick 3? There must have been... So there's a rare missing and a common missing. So the rare must have been good, but I don't understand why the Hoarder's still in the pack. Just the best common in the set, in our colors, easy pick. Alright, we do get another Dreadhound here. I think we're going to lock that in. Looking through the pack, this is also super good, the Diregraph Rebirth. This is actually a tough pick. We've got the Bomb that can finish games. We've got something that can bring back our cards. We've got a solid card here. A couple okay green things. Another Hobbling Zombie. I think we're going to go ahead and lock in the Dreadhound, though. Technically speaking, this might come back to us if nobody's in green-black, but I would be surprised if nobody is. Alright, not a ton going on here. I think we're going to take this. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but in terms of what's in this pack, it's that or the Blood Pact, and I don't think we're taking the Blood Pact. Alright, so we do have a solid piece of removal here in the neg5, neg5. The tokens probably won't become relevant too much. That is one thing we're a bit short on in our deck, actually. Looking it over, is we really don't have ways to remove things. So we're probably going to go ahead and just lock that in. Other notable mentions, honestly, not a ton. Alright, we do have a Crawl from the Grave, which I am a big fan of, but there is a Diregraph Hoarder as well, and that card has been insane for me, so maybe a little bit of bias just because I have been playing with it. But I do think we take it. Alright, looking through this pack here. The Traveler's probably just our best card. I really wish we could get another piece of removal, but I think it's just a little too late for that. Alright, so now we do have a couple of decent picks here. I really do like the Interloper. It's just a good 2-drop, 2 damage. Because the only thing we can argue here is the Dissipate, and we have so much going on our 3 spot already. Odds of us holding that open are pretty slim. Alright, so right here we do get a Geist Wave, and in a vacuum, I think I'd rather have the Consider, but based on the lack of removal we have, I do think that Geist Wave is going to be more relevant. Plus, if we have to use it to save our own creature, we do get the card draw with it as well. Alright, right here, we're going to go ahead and pick up that Rotten Reunion, just because it's there. We do get a late pick Hobbling Zombie, which is pretty neat. I don't know if other people are undervaluing this, or if I'm overvaluing it. Another spot I'd be curious to hear your guys' opinion. Doesn't matter here. We're not going to play either of these cards. Don't play the bear, okay? Don't play the bear, everybody. We're going to get last pick bear. Alright, so I'm torn on that, because we were a little bit all over the place by taking the green cards, but we also got a pair of Organ Hoarders, which is pretty insane for us. Let's go ahead and start off. We're just going to cut the stuff we're for sure not playing. Red. White card up there. Where did they put planes in here for that? Alright, so that's the easy cuts. 4, 8, 12, 15. Obviously, we're not going to play that mana base, but I like to set up my mana base with 17 lands, just so that way I know how many cuts we have to make, and we are looking at 11 of them. So, I think we start off with our green, just because it is going to be our splash color, and there are some green cards here not worth playing. Because our 5-drop slot is pretty jammed up, and we picked up the pair of Dreadhounds, I don't think we want the Hauler. And honestly, I don't know if we want the Behemoth with everything else we have going on here. Both of these cards are super solid. The Drownyard Amalgam is something we might come back to as a potential cut. Going down to our 4-drops, by the time the mana from this would be relevant, it's not relevant. Because we don't have any double green, so as soon as we get that first forest, that's all we need. I do like the Scoundrel. Obviously, I really like the Organ Hoarders. Farmer, I do really like. Again, I will be honest, might be a little biased, but it is solid. Dawnheart Mentor, based on the way our deck went, I don't think we're going to end up playing this thing. And the Bounding Wolf, we'll come back to this. This one could be another cut for us. Bloodline Calling, we're going to go ahead and keep, just because neg5 is going to remove 90% of the format for us. The Shady Traveler, I'm okay with cutting here. Jaren here, we're obviously going to keep. This is actually really awkward, because we did not go the black-white humans route at all. I think we're actually going to go ahead. We're going to stop right here. Let me know in the comments if you would play or cut this before we make our decision. Stop, pause the video, leave your comment, come back to the video. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut that, just because we did not have the humans to go with it. Feels a little weird, but I think that's the right play. The Archivist and the Flip the Switches, we're going to go ahead and leave those in. Tapping at the Window, we're going to go ahead and toss. Outland Liberator is another one we might come back to and end up cutting, but at this point we're only running 4 green cards, which I'm okay with. Interloper is a keep, Occultist is a keep. The Heirloom Mirror, we're probably going to go ahead and get rid of. Not something... We talked about in the draft, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Bait Hook Angler, Geist Wave can both stay. The Rotten Reunion, we don't need 3 of at all. Honestly, looking at this pool, I don't know if we want any of them. And that would bring us down to our 40 mark here. I do like the looks of this deck. I wish we had a couple more 2-drops and a little bit more removal. But looking through what we picked, not a whole lot going on here. So I do think this is going to go ahead and be what we run. We are going to change up this mana base some, though. Let's go ahead. We are going to leave in all 3 Evolving Wilds. That way we can shave down on the actual forest. We've got double black, no double blue. So we could go down something like... I'm always torn on these, because like that gives us essentially 5 green sources. I'm okay going to 4. Go up to 8. That's essentially 11 and 8. Mana bases are definitely my weakest part of Limited, so let me know what you would do here with your mana base. Alright, so we are queuing up into the first game of our draft here. Still a little on the fence about how I feel about the deck we came up with, but hey, first draft of the season, we're going to learn together. Let's just see what happens. Mr. Blue, let's have us a good game. Alright, so looking at this hand, we've got both of our main colors. We have cards to play. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. This hand seems perfect. And with Secrets being an instant, we can lead off on this island and then just wait till they're in step and just fire it off. That way we have that clue waiting around for whenever we have a turn with nothing else to do. Opponent is likely also on the blue-black archetype by starting off with that Larder Zombie, so we just have to make sure our deck performs better. Bounding Wolf is not the best top deck there, but on the same hand, I think we're going to get to pop this clue on their instep. Alright, so we've got the Silver Bolt. We're going to be able to remove something of ours. We're going to go ahead and just pop this clue. Alright, so there's an Organ Hoarder, which is good for us. Not drawing another mana is a little rough. Mana efficiency-wise, I think we're going to go ahead and play this. That way, if we do end up drawing a land, next turn we can either play the Organ Hoarder, or we can play a 2-drop and hold that up. So we're going to get the Archivist on board. Another Geist Wave. I think at this stage it's okay to go ahead and pitch the Geist Wave. I do wish we could hit some more land, but we have another draw to try that, right? Alright, so we do get Bird Zombie off the top from our opponent. Alright, land number 4 is a go. I don't want to just play this Organ Hoarder and get it bolted, but on the same hand, if it can find us the forest, then we're looking pretty good. So I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do here. No forest. That is unfortunate for us. We do have a solid 4-drop in the Baneblade Scoundrel, and the Hobbling Zombie is also pretty solid, but I do think I like the Scoundrel more. And right here, we're going to sit back. Make our opponent come at us. Alright, opponent's going to go ahead and just activate that Larder Zombie and throw an Amalgam into the bin. First thought was maybe they were a little light on mana, but 4 right on curve there, so not sure. Got an Unblinking Observer, okay. I mean, it does mean they're not going to be able to activate that Bolt, which is pretty good for us. We are not blocking that Zombie. I am okay pitching the 2 life. See if our opponent has anything in the second main for us. Nothing. Okay. So we do have another green card, which is a little unfortunate. I think at this stage, this one's tough because I want to get into the red zone here. Our opponent does have a profitable block with the Unblinking Observer, but if they block with the zombie, we just kill it. And we have the Dissipate we can hold up as well if we just play the Interloper second main instead of the Baneblade. Just because I'd rather not run the Baneblade out and get it immediately bolted, but it would force our opponent to take their turn off. See, I think step 1 here, no matter what, is we're going to go ahead, get into the red zone, see if and how our opponent blocks. Okay, so they are willing to get rid of the Larder Zombie. Might have some type of instant speed. Okay. That's actually really good for us, because we can just Geist Wave that thing and kill it. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and just get the Vampire Interloper out there. See what our opponent does with 5. This is equal to the total power. Okay, so Drown Yard Amalgam's coming in. I'll wait for him to target, and then we'll bounce this. Just because the Amalgam, honestly, isn't something I'm super worried about. They are going to target us with the mill, which I'm okay with. They hit our Evolving Wilds, which is a little unfortunate. But we do have another swamp now. So we're only one land off of getting our Dreadhound. We do not have a profitable block here, which is a little... or attack, outside of our flyer. Little awkward, but we're going to go with it. I'm a little torn here between getting out the Hook Haunt Drifter or the Baneblade Scoundrel and just kind of locking up the board here. They're down to one card in hand, and that they can flash back. So I do think we're going to go ahead and just play out the Scoundrel. They still have the Bolt as well that they're going to eventually use on something, but at this point, I'm feeling a lot better about it. Okay, Phantom Carriage is pretty good. Let's see what they go ahead and put into their graveyard off of it. Alright, so they did get the Gale Drifter, which means the air is going to be fairly locked up now. We did unlock our green source, though, which is big for us. We have to wait a turn to use it, but that's okay. On one hand, well, we can't pop the Clue anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and just get this on board. If they do attack here... we'll see how they play it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we get the Hobbling Zombie, which means they're not doing... oh, they can bolt. That's all they can do, though. I wish that was instant speed. It'd make this a lot easier decision. It is a little awkward. We're not going to be able to flash that back, so maybe the Double Forest was the correct option. 6 total mana available to us. I do kind of want to put the Dreadhorn Hound into play and then get this online starting next turn. We have 17 cards in our library, so the Mill 3 won't be the worst for us. Yeah, I think we go ahead and just get this on the board. See if they bolt something down in response here now. Nope, still choosing not to. Organ Hoarder, land, flip the switch. They do lose 1 off the Organ Hoarder going to the grave, which is good for us. I don't think we're going to swing in with anything here. As tempting as this do the Scoundrel, it still wouldn't be enough. And at this stage in the game, our board is looking a fair amount better than our opponents. Sorry about that. Alright, so we do have the Whale Drifter out now. Opponent only has 2 mana left, which means they can't activate the Bolt, which makes this really interesting now. So we could play the Blessing, give our Hook Haunt the +1/+1, tap down the Phantom, and then we have just profitable blocks with our flyers. At best, they're trading with our Interloper, double triggering the Dreadhound. Or we can put the counter onto the Dreadhound, tap down the Amalgam, and then they have to triple block it. I kind of like that too, because I'd be okay making them triple block it. I think of all the ways we can do this. I'm okay with this dying. We're going to go ahead and do it like that. Probably could have got the Interloper in there, but that's also just a... oh, Death Touch. I completely forgot about that, I will be honest. That's unfortunate. But our opponent does lose 3 off of our triggers here. Now we get our own Hobbling Zombie. Well, depending on what that card in hand is... okay, it was a land. Let's see if they just use the Bolt here to get rid of this. That's instant speed. Or 5. They have enough to cast that and use the bolt, which makes this awkward. If they can only do one or the other, we could tap down the carriage, and then we just have lethal on board. But then being able to do both is a little weird for us. I think we're just going to get some creatures online here. Or a creature. A really big creature. We still have 12 left. Opponent has 22. I think we're just going to try to get our value. Now we definitely get in with the Baneclaw here. Just because they'd have to block with the Phantom if they want to block it. Or I guess they could do this, sacrifice Phantom and the Zombie. They have a 6, it trades, but that's now off of the board. I am also okay with that. Oh, Werewolf. I swear, guys. We don't normally punt this much. It's the recording. Getting back into the swing of things. That's what it has to be, right? Yeah, that thing's an issue now. Alright, so what's our best plan here? Let's just slow it down for a second. We have all the mana in the world available to us. I almost feel like casting this be 3, 6, 4, 5, 6. We'd have 2 mana left over, nothing we can do with it. But putting the counter on the Amalgam, tapping down this, or tap down the Flyer, give this unblockable. That's 3, 4, 5, 6 we're hitting for, leaves our opponent at 4. And we still have a Death Toucher on the back end. Yeah, I like that plan. Alright, and now if our opponent wants to swing in with anything, we have our Death Toucher, we have an Organ Hoarder we're okay throwing under the bus, or they'll just scoop it up. That works. Alright. Definitely could have played a bit tighter there. We'll shore it up for the next one, and I'll see you guys for game 2. Alright, so we are queuing up for game 2 here. We're going to play a lot tighter than that first one. Definitely some things we need to shore up. We're just blaming on making the recording, right? We're just going to roll with that. Alright, so we do have all 3 of our colors here. We're not necessarily getting on the board with our early plays here, but based on the fact we do technically have stuff to do each turn, and we have all 3 colors, I think we're going to go ahead and keep this one. Plus, we can actually lead off with the wilds, grab the forest, play one of these 2, and get a creature on the board, which is probably best. Go ahead and see what our opponent does here, though. Okay, opponent leading off on a swamp. We do have a 1-drop here now, which is still tempting, but I think I want to get this forest on board sooner rather than later. Be more awkward taking off like turn 3 versus taking off turn 1. Okay, another blue-black deck. Bait Hook Angler is the play. Solid 2 to turn 2 from our opponent. Let's go grab that forest. Alright, so a couple options here for our 2-drop. We could either just match the Bait Hook Angler, which means if they swing, we trade, or we could play the Outland Liberator, which again we trade, but then they get to bring theirs back and we don't. I don't think we're going to play either of these this turn. I'm okay throwing the Bait Hook out here, though. Just offer up that trade if they swing. And then next turn, we can play the Awakener plus the Liberator. That actually... Okay, making us discard here. I really want to get these online, especially because we can sacrifice the Angler to this. I think we're going to toss the Secrets here. And the Geist Wave. I do want to hold on to the Flip the Switch. And they are not even offering up the trade. Okay. We're going to go ahead, get a couple of creatures on the board here. We are also going to sit back for now. We can flip this thing next turn, though. That could be pretty good. Yeah, I'm not getting in front of the zombie. And now that we have these online, I don't think I'm getting in front of that bait hook angler either. I think our opponent is wanting us to get in front of the bait hook. That way our sacrifice becomes more awkward. Opponent looking at that blue like they have something to play. Okay, opponent has a 3-drop, but no 4th lands. So they did stumble there. We have our 4th. 2-3 menace. We can become a 4-4. I think we swing in with the team here, because this doesn't have to be at sorcery speed. So we can swing in, and whatever they block up, assuming they block one of our 2-powered creatures, we'll just sacrifice that, flip this one. And if they block this one, that's best case scenario for us. Okay, so they're going to block up the Liberator, which is probably the least favorite of our sacrifices here, but I'm still... If we do this, it becomes nighttime, which means they get a 4-4 menace that we can't do anything with, actually. This is actually a tougher decision now that I think about it. We get in for 6 here. They get us for 6 on the crackback. We just don't have a way to deal with that, actually, now that... Yeah, let's go ahead. I know that ended up not being ideal. Alright, we can get our swamp back here. If our opponent keeps stumbling on mana, and then we just hold up the flip the switch, though, I do feel pretty good. I'm not going to block that. They just want to get into the graveyard. Okay, so there's the flip anyways. But now we can put the ball in our opponent's court. Swing in with this. If they block, I'm okay with that trade. If they don't block, we can double up on our turn. We can play the Organ Hoarder. They are going to offer up the trade. Okay. A land off the draw here would be neat for the flip the switch. Not a land. That's okay. Do they have the Geist Wave? Okay, they had the neg5. Well played, opponent. And now we can't double block either. That became much more awkward for us. But we can tap it down now, so that'll be good. Maybe we just gotta hold on to the Organ Hoarder here. It's just so good. Yeah, we're not getting that. So what can we do here? Only having 1 blue mana is super awkward, because I can only do one or the other. On one hand, it'd be nice to tap that thing down. Buy us a turn, or if we get the Organ Hoarder online, we can double block up on it, and we get a card off the top. Well, there's our other blue. If only we hadn't already played an island this turn. My opponent found their 4th land, which could be unfortunate for us. Opponent is getting aggressive. Okay. I think we just have to double block here. If we do it that way, they can only trade. They can't take both unless they have a trick, and I'm okay with that. Do they have the trick? Okay, Death Touch, so now it's just an actual trade for both. I think we're just going to get this on board. Put the counter on our flyer here and swing in. Because we need to start getting at least semi-aggressive. Our opponent definitely has a lot more going on than us, which is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, they just keep drawing more cards too, so. A little risky. Definitely think way back that attack cost us a lot in this game. We were too hasty with that. Didn't think out the flipping part. Okay, Mask is a card. Mask is a potentially scary card. Overwhelm doesn't do us anything off of the loot here, just because we don't have a card in hand, but I also don't hate filling up the board some more. Because odds are the Mask is going to come down and equip onto this. Our opponent would be able to gain 2 life off of that. If they equip it up, they would go to 13, 2, 4, 7. We'd lose that race, I think. Even if they didn't do anything else. Okay, so they're going to make a 2 power with Menace. And then they'll probably put the Mask on that, so there's just no chance of a block, and they can now make a flyer. Okay. Yeah. I suppose the Mask grants flying too, so they might just hold it back for defense as well. Okay, this is definitely looking worse for us. What do we need here? A lot. Not that. That doesn't get us there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's no chance of us killing our opponent this turn, so we have to deal with their creatures. Okay. That'll deal with that. So I think we swing in. Probably block here just to save themselves a point of damage. So we're not going to be able to block that thing anyways. We don't have enough flyers, so we'll just use that to get rid of it. Okay, I didn't expect the no block from our opponent. I will be honest on that one. But if we can get them in combat now with this. They only hit us for 1. They are going to be able to make some blockers, but we at least survive a turn. Alright, and I don't think they have the counter, because they probably would have just swung out if they did. But we'll see. If they do have it, we just kind of cry a little, I think. They did not have it. so we're still in a hurting position, but we survived a turn. The mask being on that thing is not helping. So now we need to remove that thing. Geist Wave. It's not a Geist Wave. That's unfortunate. So it would become a 2-power, so we're not technically dead to it because we can block up there. Oh, no, it won't become because we couldn't play both spells. Unfortunate. Yeah, I don't think we have any way of winning this one, because they're just going to lifelink on the block. Yeah, that's unfortunate. The mask did us in there. The misplay on turn whatever that was is what did us in, but the mask has just officially locked us out. GG's opponent. What if they just put 2 creatures into their grave here? Like, they forget about the Dreadhound. We could only get so lucky, right? Ah, 1. Yeah, okay. There you go, opponent. Unfortunate. We still almost got there. I don't think there was any way we could have sacrificed anything, though, so is what it is. Alright, catch you guys for game 3. Looking at this hand, we're missing 2 of our colors, which is a little awkward, but we do have the Eccentric Farmer in hand, so we can use the E-Wilds to get the green, play the Farmer, get the E-Wilds back, get the blue if needed. Plus, with this hand, we have a turn 1 play and not a turn 2, so that's a perfect time to pop the Wilds as well. Opponent is on a mulligan to 6 at least. Okay, and they're going to go ahead and stay at 6 on the play. Let's see what our opponent does. If our opponent does anything here. Alright, there's the island from our opponent. There is our turn... Oh, no. I misspoke. Sorry, guys. Alright, and another blue-black deck. I wonder what the best colors in this draft format are. Nothing going on in combat here. Nothing going on with that Evolving Wilds yet, so we're just going to sit back, go get our forest. We'll play the farmer next turn. Alright. Opponent is not missing a land drop, so the mulligan has treated them well so far. Into the red zone. Free point of damage. Zombie bird. I don't even think we saw any of those during our draft. I'll have to go back and watch it, but I'm pretty confident we did not see one. Would have been nice to just get the island there instead of having to get back the wilds, but sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. Okay, Malevolent Hermit's neat. Not the most relevant thing in a draft format, but it is neat. I can see the argument for holding back the wolf, but I think I'd rather just have the zombie on board. And technically speaking, we can profitably attack into this. Well, if they double block up, though, then it's just a 1-for-1, and they get to get their Hermit back, so we're probably just going to pass here. Okay, there they go. Must have just been looking away or something. It happens. Only the bird again. Nothing we can do about that. Alright, see, I'm guessing our opponent is either, like, double queuing some Moto or having some connection issues or something, because with that mana in those colors, I don't know what they'd have at instant speed here that they're in the tank about. Okay, here comes the bird again. Yeah, they didn't have a combat trick or anything, so must just be connection issues. Before. So I know I was big on the Amalgam this turn, but now that we have the Dreadhound in hand, I think we're gonna Wilds and set up our Dreadhound on curve. So we can still play the Scoundrel, which just means the board's locked up. If our opponent goes another turn without casting anything, then the Scoundrel just gets to flip. Still not attacking in. Gonna get in with the bird again. This bird has put in some work. I will give them credit for that. We've not found a way to answer it. Okay, fair enough. They had mana open at the end of our turn. Why did they not cast it then? Alright, so we got our island there. That's land 5. 6 is in hand, so this Dreadhound is going to be able to come down. Alright, they had the immediate removal for it. So that answers what our opponent's been sitting on. I think at this point, I know it's still not the greatest, but we've got to start doing something in the red zone, because otherwise this bird is just going to get us to a point of no return. I did not need to swing with the 1-1 there, though. That was for sure the worst one. The all-attack button got me. The wolf has flash and reach. Reading the cards explains the cards. Okay, so now they're just going to get in with the team. Okay, so now we can play this, and then we can use our superhero Flash Wolf during their combat. I'm assuming they won't... Let's actually leave the farmer back. We'll just send the zombie in. They won't block it. And now Wolf's going to get to come in and trade with either of these. That's unfortunate for us. So now, we do this. We still have to do this because like we're at 8 life. I don't think it really matters. It only triggers for our stuff, so they're going to get our wolf. The issue is we still don't have a way to deal with the bird. But we sell 16. Let's get some of our own value. Here's our kill spell. On one hand, I want to send the Scoundrel in, but on this, well, if they swing, we can just block there, so yeah. This attack's fine. They do get to draw a card, but I'm okay with that. That's an issue, though. Alright, we need a lot off of this hit here. That's not quite what we needed. Our opponent just has us in the air. We have nothing with reach, which is unfortunate. GG's, opponent. Alright, so not the way we wanted to start this season, or this draft, 1 and 2. But that's okay. We're just going to rattle off 6 in a row, right? Alright, loading into game 4 now. We are currently 1 and 2. Questionable draft deck. Even more questionable plays at times. Definitely not the best of starts. We're still missing a third color, but we do have the E-Wilds, which I think is okay in this scenario, because we can turn 1 it. We're probably going to grab the green, just because we're way more likely to draw the blue. And we have more stuff to do with the green. Alright, our first not blue-black opponent of this draft. Let's see if that helps our odds any. Getting the green here. I almost grabbed a blue. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Normally I'd play the Interloper, but being on the dry, I like having the power on board that can actually block. And they're just gonna kill it anyways, so. Blue mana off the top. If we hit an island, we can Blessing, tap down their creature, put a counter here, get for 3, and play the Interloper, which would be pretty neat. Not the island, but on a technicality. Alright. So I think I'm okay offering up this trade, because we can follow up with another one. They might not even take the trade. Yeah, we can just get free 2 points of damage. Let's see if they just tap our creature. I want to hold on to the removal as long as I can here and try to pick off whatever their bomb ends up being. Alright, so there's our island. We have Flash Wolf now. So we could play this, make one of our zombies a 3/3. So if they double block, that thing would now be out of range of our removal. Or we could tap down the Siege zombie, force them to block with this if they're going to block with something. And I think I like that plan more. Are they just going to tap down all 3 in response? I think that was probably best case scenario for us. If we could draw 1 more land, we'd have 2 pieces of removal on their turn, which would be pretty good for us. Alright, opponent's getting in for 2. And then playing a creature that can't block. Okay, so I think we need to stay on the gas pedal. It's just a matter of what's our best way of going about this. 1 more mana would have been really nice, but what we can do here, because of the way our opponent tapped their mana, is we can tap down the Candlegrove Witch and just get a free attack in. At best, they can block with 1 thing. They get a 1/1 counter. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It'd leave us at 8. We're still plenty away from lethal. I think that's our best plan here. We'll put the counter on the flyer. That way it can for sure get in. Just gonna tap down their team again. Alright, so we do have them on the back foot here. We've got effectively 2 pieces of removal. Like, if we could draw any land off the top, then we'd get to cast both in the same turn. And if they attack with anything here other than the Interloper, I think that's also super bad for them. Okay, so they're going to kill the Interloper. Counter on the Siege Zombie. Like sacrificing the Witch there. It would have been tapped anyways. And now they can tap down one of our creatures before combat. There is our land. So we do get access to all the removal. I'm almost thinking we don't attack this turn. And then on their instep, removal, removal. Go to our turn and hopefully have lethal at that point. Or even like removal wolf. Yeah, they're just going to tap down the zombie. Okay, they're going to tap down that, which makes sense. Yeah, I mean, really, we could Geistwave flip this too. We'll see what they do, and then we'll go from there. Only that was a 2-3. Alright, so we're going to get the wolf on board. I think we force them to tap something now. We bounce this to hand. We give that minus to kill it. 2, 3. That's just lethal. So yeah. Okay, perfect. Rattled one back. 1 of 6. Alright, I'll catch you guys in game 5. Alright, we are headed into game 5 here. I did go ahead and take a bit of a break between games 4 and now. We're going to finish up this draft run here. But yeah, here we go. Currently 2-2 into game 5. Alright, so this hand, it's not my favorite, but I still think it's keepable. I really wish it had a 2-drop, but we are on the draw. So we'll essentially get 2 draws before we need to have been playing the 2-drop anyways. Opponent leads off on the mountain, so hopefully they're just going to be in... Never mind, they're in red-black. I was going to say, hopefully they're red-green, but no. Alright, and we cannot profitably swing into that. We're going to go ahead and just send it back our opponent's way here. One point of damage for the opponent. Alright, so we did not find a 2-drop or a forest, but we do get to draw. Another land. So I'm almost tempted to toss flip the switch here, just so that way we can keep the lands and guarantee we hit our Dreadhound. On that same thought process, though, I think we're going to go ahead and actually get rid of the wolf, just because at this moment we cannot cast it, and just get in for our free point here. See if our opponent's got a bomb in the 4-drop slot. Okay, they're going to go ahead and just remove our creature. Probably a fine play there. We could have really got the blown out. Would have held up the 3, but that is fine. And now we're going to look really smart with this flip the switch too, especially if they tap out for a 5-drop on their turn. So this could be big for us. This is actually super tempting to put the counter on, but I feel like they're going to untap and try to play a 5-drop here. That I'm okay with resolving. We're going to go ahead and use this here, mostly because I just want the zombie to sacrifice to this. Which we could sacrifice and make a generic 4/4, or we can play this out. And I think at this stage, this is actually the better route. Just start clogging up the board. We're going to get in with the zombie here. I know I mentioned sacrificing it, but we're about to make 2 more, so that's perfectly fine. We're going to go ahead and take the flashback spell. And a creature, just in case it's relevant. Well, there's the bomb 5-drop. Alright, let's go ahead, let's get this Organ Hoarder on board and just find some removal. Not what we needed. Got too aggressive with the counterspell. Opponent is playing aggressively here. So I'm super tempted to block up with the Horde and the Organ Hoarder here, just because they can only deal enough damage to be lethal on one of the two, unless they have a combat trick, which is possible, but I think at that stage I'm still okay with that. Okay, so they did have the combat trick, they got to trample and trade, but it wasn't enough to just eat our creatures without theirs dying, so that is actually a-okay in my book. And we got the green here. Couple different lines we could take. I actually just really like the line of slamming the Dreadhound and swinging in. Our opponent has nothing in hand, so at best during their turn, they can sacrifice this to here and make a generic 4/4. I think we're going to go ahead and take that line, send in our 2 Decayed Zombies. No triggers on the Dreadhound, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. If we can get both Dreadhounds online, though, I think that'll be a point of no return for our opponent, which will be really nice. Just drain them for 2 every time a creature dies. Go ahead, just get the other one onto the board here. No Death Touch going on their side. At best, they have a 4/4. I think this is a free swing with this Dreadhound. Declare blocks, make it a 4/4. Makes sense. They still get 2 damage. And there we go, 3 and 2. We will take that for our game 5. Alright, so this hand, we've got all 3 of our colors. We have a 2-drop, a 4-drop, and a 6-drop. It's not the smoothest of curves, but I think it would be pretty silly to not keep this hand. So we're going to go ahead, send it on the draw again, which is something I feel like we've been a lot during this draft run. Might just be me, but it feels that way. Go ahead, we're just going to start off with that Evolving Wilds, grab our Forest. On our turn 2, we can swamp up. I always call this an Oculus, but it's a Cultist. Magic terminology is hard, folks. Alright. If we don't draw a decent 3-drop, Secrets of the Key is actually super nice there because we can cast it on their instep and pop the clue all at the same time. Opponent is pretty dedicated to blue here with the tome. Not the best of starts for them, I don't think. Let's see. Okay, so they do have blue-black. Wonder if they didn't have anything in hand, or if they just kept a hand without the swamp, waiting to top deck it. Okay. We got Champion of the Perished. That thing can become an issue if we're not careful. Are they going to main phase the tome? I will feel much better if they main phase the tome. It's a nice card draw engine, but it just costs so much to get going. And they have a Delver. Okay. Alright, so we do have a couple of options here. Option 1 is to just tap out and play the Scoundrel. Option 2 is to play the Liberator and just use it to get the tome off of the board. I don't hate that line. Whatever we do, it's going to be second main. If we swing in here, see if they block. If they double block up, I'm okay trading with the Delver probably, just because it can get bigger faster. Although it does have a cap at 3. Matter opponent wasn't doing anything with it anyways. We're going to play out the Scoundrel here. We may regret that, letting them tap down our creature with the artifact, but we'll see if we get punished. Delver blind flip with the Eaten Alive even. That is unfortunate for us. Flyers is something our deck does have an issue with, so opponent getting off pretty good on this one. Let's see if they just tap down our creature and get into the red zone. So they are offering up the trade with the champion. I don't hate taking the trade, just because that thing is going to get to a point where it's just out of our range. That's unfortunate. Alright, so at this point, I think we just need to establish board presence. And as nice as this does look, I feel like we need to get our Death Toucher on board, and we can get the Death Toucher and the Liberator at the same time. Our opponent just uses their remove here. They can sack the zombie token to exile whatever they want off of our board, which is pretty good, or they can also make us do that. I really don't want to get rid of the Dreadhound. Yeah, I think we're going to keep the Dreadhound hand, just hope we top deck the land. I know it's not the best line, but it's a line nonetheless. I just think if it can hit the board, it's more impactful than any of the other things we were going to discard there. Really need our opponent to use that remove spell as well. This just got really bad for us. Won't even pretend that it's not. Okay, so we do have a Geist Wave. It's not the land we were hoping for, but it's a playable card. What I'm hoping for here is they're going to use this to tap down our 3. And then if they sacrifice anything to the spell, that's just value for us. They also have the option of just paying the extra mana for the spell, though, which they do. Costs 1 mana to activate. So we could bounce it back to our hand, but then we get hit for a lot, or we can Geist Wave the token. We're still going to get hit for a lot, but then at least the token's off the board. And it's not going to come back, unlike the champion. Alright, we're going to need a lot here from the top of our deck. It's almost tempting to swing in with that just to get rid of that. But I don't think we can. Plus, they can't use it this turn to tap down one of our creatures, which is good for us. We still need to find a way to deal with the flyer, though, which is unfortunate. Our draw engine too good. So they don't have the mana to flashback the Corpse Cobble, which is interesting. I didn't think they'd send the champion here. I'm okay with that trade, though. Just trying to think. They have another Startle, we're probably just dead, which, as it stands, we're dead to the flyer anyways. Just in case they have the Startle. Oh, if they have the Startle, though, it'll make another zombie, which might take that out of... Okay, they do have the... which now makes it 6. We still had enough to kill it. Still gotta find a way to deal with the flyer, though. That is not it. We also needed to hold that in hand, so this loot would be relevant. Maybe we'll hit something else with Disturb. Okay, another land, so the loot wouldn't have been relevant anyways. Okay, so opponent has 3 in the air. They have the Corpse Gobble, which is going to be bad for us very quickly. But there is unfortunately not much we can do in this scenario. That's unfortunate. Now they have this open to just tap down one of our creatures. That's actually just lethal. They just swing out here. Make sure they see it, but they more than likely, yeah. Okay. GG's opponent. That was unfortunate for us. Alright. Well, we did get back up into silver, but not the most impressive draft overall. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, I know it wasn't perfect gameplay, perfect drafting, but hopefully you had a good time, enjoyed yourself, and maybe learned how not to draft this set. Make sure hit that sub button on your way out so you can be notified the next time we get a draft video up. As I was saying in my previous video, I am going to be shooting for 2, maybe even 3 of these a week. Just a matter of how fast we can get them played, get them uploaded, but that is our goal here, the 2 to 3 mark. Other than that, feel free to hit me up in the comments, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, any of those places you feel comfortable talking on. And outside of that, I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!